Hi. I don't know. Today, there's a trilogy of self reads, apparently. Excuse me. Oof, I feel like you know what I mean? So, anyway, Rob at Rob's Tarot debuted a new spread that he's rocking, the personal interview spread. And he sent it to me. I gave some feedback. He refined it. He got where he wanted it to be, and I was like, oh, I'm really interested in the not raw, the first version of it that I saw. So I was gonna do this. This had to be after another self read. Um, then I was like, oh, I could use this. Excuse me, but through life exploration, other reads, I didn't end up using it for what I originally thought I was going to use it for. So I'd be interested to see, I guess, how it reads today. I ended up finding the answers I was looking for through other means. So, yeah, I'm going to do that today. And then I was like, I'm surprised I don't like sushi because I kind of gravitate towards the raw runes. Like there's this raw version of the interview spread, personal interview spread. Yeah, I feel like happy full strawberry moon, right? Maybe I should get out there. I think I saw on some kind of short video that it's going to be a low moon. Well, I guess it would depend on maybe where you live, huh? I saw that it was going to be a low moon, so it's going to like look bigger because it's lower in the sky, closer to the horizon, which I guess is interesting. Maybe not. I feel like, yeah, besides that, I don't know. I feel like I'm a little tired now. I'm using the Clarity Tarot because I got this deck. Y'all remember? Mm-hmm. And it's like, it feels like tissue paper. Like, it's so thin that it's like, ooh, Wheel of Fortune and the King of Wands. Okay. It's so thin that it's like if I apply too much pressure, it doesn't, I have to like relax it, right? And I feel like usually with the other decks, I kind of gotta not push it a little. I have to encourage it. Ooh, girl, I ain't trying to bend the deck. I'm really not. No, bent cards is like one of my, not a pet peeve because it happens, but it's like, I don't dog ear books. I mean, I barely read, but when I do read, I don't dog ear the books. That's when you fold the corner of the page over to save your spot. I prefer a bookmark just because I don't know. I like to keep things in a certain condition, I guess. I don't know. I mean, generally, I'm like struggling. Okay, so it's an 8 card spread, and the version I'm using, the first card, who are you right now? Second card, what are you dealing with? Third card, how is this affecting you? Fourth card, how have you been trying to protect yourself? Fifth card, what are you not seeing clearly? Sixth card, what truth needs to be faced? Seventh, what can this help you understand about yourself? And eighth, what would it take for you to move forward? Ba-da-ba-da-bum. I was honestly going to use the version that he ended up reading, but like when this, my original intention was to use this spread for where I kind of was. Now that I'm not there anymore, I'm like, I don't know if I necessarily need it, but I wouldn't necessarily know. Bottom of the deck is the Nine of Swords, though. Now, what's interesting about this is they're like these. I guess, is that a door? Is it a window? It's almost giving that archway. It kind of sort of is giving that arch. From the, excuse me, with the nexus and everything, right? It's barred by swords, but you can see through it. But there are these like birds at the top. There are 5 birds, and the birds kind of stand out to me. Interesting. What's that about? I don't know. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it 3 of these shuffles, 2 of those shuffles. What's this? 3 ripples, 2 shuffles, and a cut. And I'm just going to pull the 8 cards off the top. And then we're going to go. We're going to go and we're going to see. That was the 3 of those. That's 1. Ooh, okay. Oh, goodness. 2 and a cut. The 9 of Swords flipped back over. I feel like that's kind of been happening. Like the storm came back out. The 9 of Swords. Maybe there was another card. Maybe not. Excuse me. Okay, I'll probably wake up when we get into this. I'm a Pisces, so this is me getting in my bag. Dreams have been dreamy. Dreams have been dreaming lately. Where's my Neptune? My Neptune is in Libra. Mm. Okay. All right, all right, all right. And that was a cut. Oh, the 9 of Swords flipped over. I think I'll pull the card before and after. You know what's okay? So synchronicity. For example, I went to the gym today. Right, I'm on a treadmill for the first time in months. My membership has been like frozen, like all year. It unfroze, and I was like, "Well, I guess I'm gonna go." It unfroze another time, I think, but I didn't realize it. Excuse me. Maybe I did end up going. I realized it like right before I left town. I don't. Yeah, they got these new treadmills that I don't like. Like I have to hand. If I don't hold on to the thing, I'm like all over the place, and it's lower. They're lower now, so like it's not comfortable, which is a bummer. I like the old machines, but it's fine. I just liked for what I needed, it did it. Like I like inclines, but I like they had a random option. So they usually you'll find like hills, the incline will go up and then down and up and down. But the old machine had a random function, which would like randomize the incline, which I really liked. I haven't found it on any other machine. Maybe I'm not looking at the right setting. It's fine. Anyway, I'm on the treadmill, right? LOL. And I'm struggling today. I'm struggling. My audiobook ain't doing it. It's like I enjoy the series that I'm listening to, but it doesn't engross me like some others. And so it wasn't helping pass the time. And the new machines are wider. They have wider parts where you can put like a phone. So I was like, oh, I'll open up my phone, I'll watch some anime. That like 20, however many minutes flew. And as I'm watching the anime, um, there are two characters. There's a goddess and a guy that I was watching. It's like My Ridiculous Reincarnation or something like that. It's like the isekai. It's its own thing. It's almost one of those parody type shows where it's like satirical, and it like kind of pokes fun at the genre in a way. So there's a goddess, and then there's the guy that keeps reincarnating, right? And so every time the guy finishes one of his lives, he brings back a souvenir, and a lot of them have been snacks. And he made a comment to the goddess that was like, "Hey, you've been putting on some weight. Maybe I should bring back a souvenir that's not a snack." And she like played it off, but after he reincarnated, she was on a treadmill, and she was on a treadmill, and she was like, "Yes, now I can eat this slice of cake." Cue to me going to Dunkin' like half an hour later and getting a donut. I was like, wow, come for me. See, it'd be like little synchronicities like that. You know what I mean? Just like constantly. Um, anyway, that happened today. I was like, ah, ha, ha, lol, that's funny. Um, yeah. I don't know. I feel like I've been in my North Node Sagittarius bag a little bit. And I feel like I go through a range of emotions. And I feel like sometimes maybe it's like preaching to the choir a little bit, every now and then. I was like scrolling the socials last night. Um, I get a good mix, I feel like. Every now and then I'll get like an astrology update. I'll get like different stuff. Food, travel, pop culture, like the whole gamut, right? And I saw something yesterday that was very like it was one of those like Matrix and NPCs and blah 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 blah. And again, every time I don't always necessarily have the same emotional reaction and response, but it was just like really disheartening yesterday for some reason. I don't know if that's because it kind of reminded me like when the Temple was the final card that came out, or was the Shadow? I think the Shadow was the final card that came out of the Wild Unknown archetypes, and the Temple was at the bottom of the deck, right? And then it was that energy of like the divine finding people in the shadows of the temple, and how I don't know. It's I guess interesting how one part is so like about love and uplifting everyone, but at the same time like dehumanizes like multitudes of people. You know what I mean? I'm just like, okay, well, I don't know. Maybe it's this full moon that's got me in my feelings. Excuse me. Maybe it's this Mercury about to retrograde. Maybe it's the sun in Cancer. It's Cancer season. Who knows? But it was just like really disheartening yesterday. I'm like, wow, you know? And I don't think, I mean, but I guess that's the thing. A lot of times when we sort of believe something, we don't necessarily see that dehumanization as like a bad thing or maybe as a thing in general. I don't know. Anyway. Anyway. Also, I feel like um I don't know, I feel like it's been a really interesting maybe it's Chiron in Taurus, you know? Uh about to breach my first house. I feel like I've been getting a lot of I feel like in a lot of ways a lot of pieces are coming together. And there was a vibe of this a minute ago, like just allowing the pieces to sort of fall into place. And then as more and more and more pieces of the puzzle fall into place, eventually you'll get pieces that connect to other pieces. And as you get larger sections of more and more connected pieces, you kind of start to see different ways that it could all come together, different things that the image could like be, right? Assuming it's like a flat image. Usually with a jigsaw puzzle, it's like landscapey or whatever. Usually it's a solid image. It's not like a collage of images. You know what I mean? You're not going to get like a sunset up here and then a forest over here and a beach down here and then something else over here in the same puzzle typically. Typically it's like all one thing. But anyway, I guess it's been really interesting. Excuse me, in the way that things are sort of coming together. Lots of whatever. Okay. Am I gonna do these first or last? I think I'll do these last. We get some bonus cards. I did pull, so the Nine of Swords literally flipped over. Was the only card to flip over. And I pulled it with the card before and after it because apparently it wants to be seen. So let us continue. Card number one was Who Are You Right Now? So, who I am right now is the Four of Pentacles. Now, what's interesting about this, there's a few things that are interesting about this Four of Pentacles. First, the person is standing. Usually in the Four of Pentacles, someone is like seated in some kind of chair. She's standing like kind of out in nature. The sun is up there shining. There's a peacock right there. One of the pentacles is left behind or on the ground. Isn't there one usually on the crown? And that light is like right above her crown. I'm the Four of Pentacles right now. I feel like that's fairly accurate, honestly. I'm just like in semi-hermity type energy. You know what I mean? I feel like a lot has been happening in the past 2 years. A lot was required to get me to where I am today as I brace myself for the tomorrow that is here, right? Second card, what I'm dealing with. So I'm the Four of Pentacles, and I'm dealing with the Two of Swords. Girl. Okay. I'm trying to find her hands. Usually the Two of Swords is holding those two swords. This almost reminds me of it was the Ten of Air in the Dreams of Gaia Tarot. It could have been another card. Something about almost like at a precipice. Is that a moon in the back? It's like shiny. She's not holding those two swords. Are they preceding her? Are they blocking the path? Who knows? The Two of Swords for me is the space of the minor high priestess because as a card of a sort of like impasse or multiple options or like pros and cons type energy, it's like when one thing isn't differentiably better or worse than another thing, and like the thing that breaks the tie is intuition, right? It can. The thing that can break the tie is intuition, if there is a tie to be broken at all. Sometimes it is a just make a choice, right? What do you feel like doing today? What do you feel like pursuing next? There's not necessarily a right or wrong answer. It's just whichever way you want your life to go. For example, let's say that there's an industry that someone wants to work in, and there are different like hubs within that industry, and every hub almost like has its own flavor or whatever, right? So theoretically, it's like it doesn't matter where you go. Just, pick the one that speaks to you. So I'm the Four of Pentacles dealing with the Two of Swords, and it's affecting me in a Five of Cups kind of way. What the world is happening? Ooh, one of these cups is broken. This cup broke. See, that one's broken. That one's still spilling. This one has to be like, I don't know. It gives the image of like a cup that is all like there's always water sort of pouring forward. Those two are up. There's a little white bird, and there she sits amidst the birds and nature and the river. And she's like, I don't know. It is a card of grief and loss. And money feeling unfulfilled. Don't throw good money after bad. What? Don't throw good money after bad. What does that mean? I'm like, okay, where are we going with this? I guess, yeah. Four of Pentacles, Two of Swords. One way that I'm like kind of dealing with this IRL right now. I feel like within the past week, maybe as I've been doing like these self reads or whatever, and just like living life in general, I feel like I know what I want to do. Like I would love to, like one of my favorite movies, I would say my favorite movie growing up was Meet the Robinsons. Um and as like I've become an adult, especially navigating like a career transition, change, pivot, whatever. Not that there as I'm navigating that and as things have come into my awareness that I'm like, oh my gosh, like I forgot that I wanted to do that. And I didn't like necessarily think that I was like qualified for this, even though I am, and like all this other stuff, right? And there's been opportunities. And if the opportunity itself wasn't necessarily aligned, what it awakened within me kind of is, which is like I would like to be like an inventor or a creator, or not even like just like a problem solver. You know what I mean? Like some kind of think tank, collective mind. Let's look at the issues in the world and come up with solutions to face them, right? Because I don't believe that progress has to come at the cost of like the environment or at the cost of our lives or our humanity. You know what I mean? Like there should be a way forward where we don't have to like make those sacrifices. And I think sometimes, well, I guess depending, right? A lot of people want to strike while the iron is hot, and people want to be the first, and you know, whatever. And so sometimes doing the smart thing, sometimes we can sacrifice the long term for like short term gain. And I don't, it's like I feel like I know what I want to do, but I don't know if it's being done slash who does it and how you get into it. I remember like I was telling the buddy I was visiting earlier this year, uh I was like, I would love to do this, and I don't want to, like there are things that I really enjoy. there are things that I like doing, but I don't necessarily know if I want to do the same thing for like my whole life. You know what I mean? And I feel like with a lot of the models that I see, it's like you can specialize in something and then work in a lot of like work in or around that role in different companies doing different things. But like obviously I'm in the like the chemistry, organic, biological sciences, right? And then there's the medicine, pharmaceuticals, that like industry that I'd love to pursue. Also, I love coding and controls and like stuff like that. There are other things that I like, and it's like I wish I could just like do all of it. And I feel like I was conditioned this way. You know what I mean? Like you watch shows like I don't I guess if I think about it, even if they did tackle different things, they kind of ultimately did the same thing, maybe. But then I guess now I'm like, well, I could just start somewhere. But I also, yeah, it's like I want the Two of Swords makes sense. I feel like it makes sense. We're kind of in, I guess we started with the Four of Pentacles. Pentacles, yeah, it checks because I feel like there's like high impact work that I would love to do. Also, there's like a lot of progress, advancement, technological or otherwise, that I would love to be a part of. But like if I'm working in a field of like technical advancement, I don't know how I'd necessarily feel about that being like weaponized, right? Or how that would like negatively impacting people's lives. And at least here in the US, when it comes to like medicine and stuff, like our healthcare system is what our healthcare system is. And it's like, to have some kind of like breakthrough treatment or to be able to effectively eradicate some kind of malady or whatever, but like it's not accessible for whatever reason, right? And I feel like there have been little things that I picked up when I was young that maybe it's time to just let go. And in a certain way, it's better to help some people than no people, right? Um, yeah, okay. I feel like maybe there's just like a general state. I feel like the past little bit, and maybe it's this last decade of North Node in Pisces. maybe that's it. I don't know. Um, but I feel like in some ways I've been disillusioned a little bit. Or disillusion may not necessarily be the word. It's like in some ways I feel like again, I'm kind of like approaching what it is that I would like to do while at the same time not knowing if and where it is. Because it could be there. I'm not going to say nobody's doing it. And now that I've reached the point that I've reached, I'm going to be doing like more research. You know what I mean? I feel like within the past maybe the past day or two, I've been able to like more so like the image is clearer in my mind of what I would love to do. Again, I don't know if people do it. And then depending on who you talk to, and the person I've been spending half of my time with over the past few years is better at better at a logic that exists. And my thing is that like if everyone did what made the most sense, what was the most practical, was the most logical, there would never be any progress. Nothing would ever change. Nothing would ever be invented because no one would ever do anything different or to change the status quo. You know what I mean? Like someone has to be the first to do a thing before it's known that it's like possible to do it, right? And so to a swords, maybe we loop back around to like wanting to be the first. Anyway, this is where this is taking me right now, which is where I am. I'm glad I'm here, sort of doing this, because the other stuff, like where I was when Rob originally sent this to me, life proved that I didn't necessarily need this spread to help me answer those questions. Not that I'm not saying it wouldn't have been helpful, and I'm not saying I couldn't have done this twice. Um, but I think that's another thing in the past 2 to 3 years. Really, honestly, also in the past 2 years, but at like the start of that 2 years. Less so like that first chunk. It was very like there are resources that I have that I know I have. And every now and then it'll come back up. Like there will be someone that I can trust to like help me do whatever. But part of me feels like I need to arrive at my own conclusions. Or I need to, at the very least, lay the groundwork myself before, like, lay down the foundation and then, you know, call in the professionals to help me build the thing. Or to at least come up with a list of features that are a must, features that are a nice to have, and, blah, 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 whatever. Excuse me. Okay. So, how I've been trying to protect myself. The King of Cups. What does this mean? That, what is it? Talented, talented helping man. Is that how I've been trying to protect myself, or is that how I've been trying to distract myself? I have had plenty of opportunities to help out other people, and it's so interesting too. I don't like. I remember about a year ago, a little over a year ago, um, when I was looking at potentially when I was more single-mindedly or more strongly pursuing a UK move, there was a part of me that knew I didn't want to be there in the way that I immediately sort of saw myself being there. I literally just thought of this. And I'm like, now I'm really, really glad. Life happens. Sometimes life happens and you're like, oh boy, I am so glad I didn't know. I just saw this reel, maybe, or a short on Facebook. This girl was like, she was like, I wasn't wrong, I was early. Like, I didn't know why. It's funny because I kind of did. I kind of did know, but I didn't know to what extent. Because the reason why I didn't want to be there is exactly the reason why I don't want to be there now. Um, but like nothing had happened yet. So I didn't necessarily know what things would look like, but I'm glad. I'm kind of glad I got clarifiers. How I've been trying to protect myself. Well, on the Four of Pentacles, I feel like the Four of Pentacles and the King of Cups has a certain synergy that makes sense. Right? The Four of Pentacles can be guarded, reserved, protected, distanced, and the King of Cups has an emotional mastery, you could say, that allows him to like feel things but not be necessarily ruled by those emotions. I think sometimes when it comes to the emotions, we can like kind of suppress a little bit when we're trying to like not act based off of our emotions, but not always. But like if we look at an archetype of like the King of Swords slash King of Pentacles maybe versus the King of Cups, like the King of Swords can stereotypically more easily logic out, reason out like the logical path. And I feel like the King of Pentacles can be like really practical and pragmatic about it. But it's like the King of Cups can really like stand in that. And now I almost wonder if it's like it's reading because I know me and I'm reading me. And it's literally how I'm like protecting myself, right? It is kind of, I don't know if I would necessarily call it toxic, but it is an old pattern to like pull in all the feelings and to feel all the things and to break my own heart as I do nothing with those feelings but feel them. Um, I wouldn't necessarily think that that's what I'm. Oh wait, hold on, wait. I might have to watch this one back because consciously there are some ways in which I can kind of see it, but also at the same time I've learned the lessons that I've learned, which is kind of really interesting because it's almost like from the other side of the street. Like the polarity is reversed. And I'm gonna do it. I just opened up the deck and I'm pulling a card to get a clarifier. Ooh no! Okay, wait. Hold up. It's not the Six of Cups. Okay, all right. It's not the Six of Cups. I was thinking it's the Six of Pentacles. I was like, if it was the Six of Cups, then I would have been like, "Ooh, girl, trauma. What is this? Is this a trauma response?" But with this being the Six of Pentacles, it's just like it's learning to rebalance things. Because again, I feel like because I'm sort of in this energy or kind of falling in this pattern from the other side of the street, I had to cross the road. And in crossing the road, it's like there was learning that happened. And there was life that happened. And I feel like there's actually a potential to turn this into a strength. And if I think about it, okay, all right. That is something that I'm learning to tap more into now. And again, it's because of the experiences that I've had in the past 2 years that I can really sort of do that. Like the old toxic pattern used to be more like feel all the things, but then deliberately make the choice that would make me miserable. But now it's almost this like feeling all the things, but deliberately making the choice to do the things that I know I need to do or to pursue the things that I really want to do, even if I feel however I feel about it, right? So, for example, if I'm applying for something and it's like really intimidating, either because it's something that I used to want to do, but I didn't think I would be able to, and I'm like, wait, I'm actually qualified for this, so I can. Or if it like sort of triggers that almost imposter syndrome, just like knee jerk, because that was my modus operandi for like a long time. But now I can be like, I can hold these feelings and I can still hit apply anyway. I can hold these feelings and I can still reach out anyway. I can hold these feelings and I can still continue to think about this thing and show up anyway. So in some ways, and this was literally, I feel like as soon as cancer season stepped through the door. And then it's interesting because now as I look back on stuff, I guess in my mind, I thought it was like a lot worse than it was. And I revisited it. I'm like, wait, hold on. They're like, this isn't bad. And I feel like the amount of times I've had that experience of like, oh, like in my mind, this was a mess. But now that I'm reading it, I'm like, oh, like it's okay. So the shield has become the sword in a way. Cool. Okay. All right. All right. Number 5. Right? One, two, three, four. Yep. Number 5. What am I not seeing clearly? The Ace of Pentacles. It is so hilarious that the Ace of Pentacles is what I'm not seeing clearly, because this Ace of Pentacles is like on the ground back there. She's like in the foreground. There's the Ace of Pentacles on the ground. Literally the Five of Cups crying over the 3 that spilled, not noticing either the bird or the 2 cups that are look how shiny and pristine those cups are. So for the Ace of Pentacles literally to be the thing that I'm not seeing when it's like already shown in the cards. Okay. I don't have my iPad. It's fine. That's something for me to look into later. I'm not seeing the Ace of Pentacles. Okay. There's a bumblebee on the Ace of Pentacles. I'm literally not seeing as many bees and butterflies and other pollinators. Turns out I was watching a thing, scrolling on social media like I do, and someone was like, are mosquitoes really necessary? Blah, blah, blah. They're such a pest. And the lady on the video was like, a lot of mosquitoes are pollinators. And there are some plants that are almost like primarily pollinated by mosquitoes. It's just, the species and the females of that species, because they use that blood to feed their little babies. She also said that a lot of like animals and stuff will avoid places that are like highly populated by mosquitoes. And so the plants and like the flora around there is almost protected because the fauna isn't, looking for a snack as much. What does that have to do with anything? I don't know. Pollinators, that's where I was. And maybe that's another thing, right? It's like I was looking for a certain class of pollinators because I'm only outside when I'm outside. And I'm not trying to be around the bugs and the bees and the wasps and the butterflies anyway. Also in the background, like there's an open gate. There's the open gate in the background. There was a thing actually. I did. I don't think it's on my phone. I'm pretty sure it's on my computer. I guess I could. I don't even know where it is. I feel like I should know where it's at, but I don't. It's fine. There was something. It was like it was about. It's funny that I'm talking about dreams. I'm paraphrasing it because I don't remember exactly. I was like, maybe in a literal high school biology class. I could have been in like AP Bio. I honestly feel like I was. I may not have been. Um, but it's something like paraphrasing the ability to manifest something is directly proportional to the size of the dream and the initiative of the dreamer. And it was a tree. It was a tree and a ladder and a person, right? And I guess I can recreate it really quick because that's not too difficult. That's more reasonable than spending half an hour trying to find a document on my computer that I'm pretty sure it's there. Pin up. I don't own the rights to that. I think it's a Zelda. I could be wrong. So imagine, if you will, you may not, but if you will. Oh, wait, wait. Oh, crap. Oh, well. Oh, wait. Can I do this? I can do this, and then I can do this, and then I can copy it, and then I can paste. Then I can paste. I can paste. Can I paste? Will you allow me to paste? I don't remember how to paste. I literally did it last time. Oh, it's still selecting. That's why. Oh, girl. Okay. How do I do this? Is it over here? Is it this one? Is it you? Oh, come on. It's fine. No, it's not. I'll figure this out real quick. I literally figured it out last time, but I don't remember how I pasted it. Okay, anyway, because it wasn't like a right click. Okay, I'll just continue. And then there is the ladder. Maybe I should put a fruit in here. It's fine. Now, if I could figure out the pace, that would be amazing. Like I literally did this last time. Import drafts. No, no, no. Selection mode. Auto select circle. Scale distort. What is this? Drawing guidelines. Those would be helpful. Fill eraser smudges. I don't need a smudge. I don't want no smudge. Oh, wait, wait, wait. Hold up, hold up. No, it won't let me. It'll let me move it, but it won't let me paste. Anyway. Oh, I'll just do it in different colors. How about that? There's the green and then there's the blue. It was something like this. I mean, as long as it's taking me, I probably could have just found the image. I was like, this will be much quicker. So there's the green one and then the blue one, right? There was also a drawing of a stick figure And it was something paraphrasing the ability to manifest something is related to both the size of the dream and the initiative of the dreamer, right? With the blue tree, it's a lot easier to reach up and to grab whatever you're looking for, a fruit in those trees. And with the green one, since it's higher, it's like, quote unquote, more difficult. If the dream is big enough, you can, from the ground, just reach up and pick the fruit. You don't even have to climb a ladder. But that's what this brings to mind because of the ladder and the Ace of Pentacles. Now it's interesting because, again, there's an Ace of Pentacles that's already on the ground here. No ladder required. And I don't know. Yeah. Plus, again, with the image of the Five of Cups, if you were to look up and see, there's like two cups right there type energy. What am I not seeing clearly? I feel like this Two of Swords, the image of it makes sense. Am I trying too hard? Am I doing too much? Is it one of those pull off the blindfold? You'll see it. Pentacles don't really have a strong smell. If you're trying to use your other senses, sight would be the easiest one. I don't know, maybe not. And it's so interesting because every now and then, it's been a while. Early in my journey, pre YouTube. Well, it's pre quote unquote spiritual YouTube, pre tarot, pre all that. Patrick found Abraham Hicks through synchronicity. The divine will use whatever. The path of least resistance is real because what started as a low key thirst follow ended up exposing, like, when I was ready. And I don't even think the person was that active, honestly. And it's so kind of strange almost how people will come into your life at a certain point in time and be so pivotal and important and so many things. And then you keep living life. You know what I mean? Anyway, what started as kind of a low key thirst follow, he was like meditating, listening to Abraham Hicks. And I was like, again, I found it when I was ready because I was like, okay, this is interesting. Like, I'm hearing this language that I haven't necessarily heard before. It's a key, it's a vibe. I want to know more information. And it was kind of sort of in that point and in that phase where stuff was starting to shift. And there was like a feeling of something that should have been there that wasn't there. Almost like that image that I'm looking for. Like, I know it's on my computer somewhere. If I were to look hard enough for it, surely I'd find it. It's like I have to be like overlooking something. Why do I know? Why do I feel so strongly that it's just like something laying around somewhere waiting for me to find it? And I didn't fully return to that energy, I feel like, within the past 24 hours. But it's like it tickled my brain a little bit. Almost, I didn't sit with it long enough. But almost that feeling of like there's something in the immediate vicinity. It's like, where did I put it? Like, I know it's here. Then I remembered, I was like, oh, this is like that feeling back then. Maybe I need to be a little bit more proactive, but my weapon of choice is prayer, right? That's the warrior's weapon is a prayer. And then a storm. Oh goodness. I feel like now that after I had that like disheartened feeling yesterday, I feel like I have to. There's a certain part of me that feels a certain inevitability of storm sometimes, or it's a question of like what has to happen. Maybe it's not for me to question, but I think about it sometimes anyway. Like, what does getting from point A to point B look like? What would it look like to cross the road and end up on the other side of the street? Like, what would have to happen, right? And sometimes when it feels like it would be a storm, I'm like, ugh, better just maybe it'll resolve itself some other kind of way. Again, depending on the vibe, sometimes it's like thunder, lightning, earth, volcanoes, ash will rain from the sky. I'm like, ooh, girl, calm down. It's like, this is ridiculous. You know what I mean? Very rarely. Um, I think another, it's fine. The Ace of Pentacles is the thing that I'm not seeing clearly. How interesting is that? Especially when it's already depicted through the images. What truth do I need to face? The Five of Swords. No! Do you see that? Do you see the thunderbolt? Do you see this storm imagery? When I was literally like, sometimes it feels like the answer would come through a storm, and I'm like, I don't know about that. Mm. And there's a bird up here. There's two birds. Oh, it's like two eagles fighting. I don't know. I kind of got this positioned a little. Oh, it gets so warm. A little weirdly. There you go. Now you can see. You see the two birds, the eagles. They haven't locked talons yet, but you see all the lightning crackling. She's and see. So this sword coming off of her hip points to that sword, and then she's holding the other one, right? And then the sword she's holding in her front goes down, and then it touches that one. Now, another thing that this calls to mind is it's like the Two of Swords has taken off the blindfold. Oh, okay. All right, all right, all right. I feel like personal towers and storms, that I'm a lot more likely to be like, okay, if it's going to storm, it's going to storm. The earth is a little dry. The plants could use some rain, and other stuff is, a storm is a part of the natural cycle. Wow. Wow. Also, with these two birds, I was just thinking about that. When I was walking, maybe what, 2 weeks ago? It was like 3 weeks ago, I heard one bird, and it was just like going on and on and on and on. I'm like, usually a bird will fly over, it'll make some noise, it'll make some noise, it may make some more noise, and then it's just like gone, right? But this one was like noise, 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 noise. I'm like, it got to that point where I was like, is something happening? Do I need to go home? Hello? And I was like, okay, that was weird. And then maybe a week later, I was walking it again, and it was like one bird that started making the noise, like noise, 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 and then another bird, noise, 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 and it's kind of following me a little bit. And then there's one train that went off in the back as the birds are going noise, 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 which isn't uncommon, like trains go through. But then, as one train was sounding its horn, another train came in, and it had this weird, like, off measure harmony thing where it wasn't fully discordant, it wasn't a cacophony, but it wasn't harmonious either. And so between these two trains and these birds, I'm like, what is happening? I'm like, well, it is supposed to like storm today, so maybe they're just like, this is their pre weather. Maybe the birds are the warning system for the animals, like, shelter in place, go home. If you got a burrow, time to get down into the burrow. If you're a squirrel living in the knob of a tree or wherever, the deer is like, everybody go home. Birds saying, the storm is rolling through, hunker down, prepare, especially because that last one ripped through here not too long ago. And then sometimes life, and it's so funny because there were things that I was like seeing that I paid no attention to until life happened. And then I'm like, oh, so when I was seeing this, when it was saying this, it was saying that to me, so that I would be prepared, but with no knowledge of what was to come. I'm like, okay, you know what I mean? I'm like, all right. And I don't even like, it didn't even storm as bad as it was supposed to either, which I'm grateful for because I wasn't ready to lose power again. We had just gotten it back. Um, and I think another thing that's interesting here, because I was talking about crossing that street, right? Sometimes the storm happens when you're crossing the road, and this almost frames out a street, right? The sword on the ground is the street. And maybe this is me sort of like looking for another way when it's like, this is the way. There is no other. This is literally like that dream I had. The one I was just talking about, what, yesterday? When I was confronted in a dream, I was confronted and I was like, I'm not doing this. And they were like, oh, yes, you are. And I said, I'm not. And I turned around, I saw a door, I walked through, I opened up the door and I woke up. I opened my eyes. What was this? The truth that needs to be faced. I guess it's sometimes some storms are inevitable and there are no other ways. And it is interesting because I feel like the past year has really been that, like, taking the blindfold off in so many ways. Um, in ways that it's like I had taken off the blindfold before. It's like when you first wake up, or if there's like, if you go from the dark to the light, right? When you're in school and you're watching the movie and the lights are off, right? Back in the day, imagine there's that cart thing with the TV on it, back when there weren't flat screens and like the DVD VCR player, and you're going to watch some Bill Nye or something else, right? And so the lights go off, you're watching the thing, and then the lights cut on, and you're like, your eyes kind of have to adjust, and then everything comes back into focus. It's kind of like that. Everything's coming into focus because the blindfold came off type energy. And I guess it's really interesting that the Five of Swords is here. And in some ways, it plays into a synchronicity that I've been seeing lately. It's a new one, it's fresh, hot off the presses. And this one, I'll say I'm kind of paying attention to it, but I'm not necessarily. I haven't done like a deep dive, if you know what I mean. I'm like, oh, I'm aware of you. I'm gonna keep my eye on you. Some of them I let just play in the background. We'll see. I'll see. I'll check in. Um, I feel like this because I'm reading this for me, even if I was reading this for someone else, I like to imagine that I'm decently intuitive enough to kind of pick up on stuff sometimes. Sometimes I'm like, I don't know if I necessarily need to read everything in between and try to bridge gaps. Sometimes, I feel like maybe I should just let it go. But because I know me in some ways and I don't in some others, um, there's almost a reluctance here. I don't know if there's an unawareness of that Ace of Pentacles as much as it is, again, like seeking another path or an alternative route for whatever reason. And so you put on the blindfold and you face the heavens and you say, is there some other way, please? Any other way? I kind of want to put slap a little clarifier on that. I'll do it. Why not? Temperance. Temperance was actually the final card. There were two final cards. The only one I remember is Temperance. I put it back into the deck and I shuffled it up. I did pre-shuffle a little bit before I went live. I only have one deck today, so it was a lot easier. Heal rifts and avoid ego. Cooperation and peace in workplace. Oh, look, it's a different bird. Is this a crane? You see that? You see that bird up there? That little dove? Who this little birdie right here on the knee? There's that little dove with all these cups. Wow. Is the Five of Cups my minor temperance card now? Maybe not. But it is funny because this cup was giving me the image of like it'll never empty. And then that's kind of sort of her, Aquarius, the water bearer. That's kind of sort of its shtick, its thing, right? Also, it's like what was a moon in the Two of Swords. It's a star in in Aquarius. Hold up. Yeah. It does kind of. There is a visual theme that fits the scheme, the schematic. I had a dream years ago now. It was after the whole North Node and Sagittarius fiasco shenanigans, after it all started. But I felt like it was kind of in a lull where I was at a place and there were like guards or something, people stationed at the door. It was like a function. There was something that was like really weird. I'm not necessarily an adventurous eater. I'm a lot less picky now. I am tremendously less picky now than I used to be. But I wouldn't call myself adventurous in the culinary department at all. Not really. Um, Flavors, textures, sometimes smells. I don't know if necessarily colors, but I wouldn't be surprised. Sorry, jokes. um, yeah, and they were like, I didn't get kicked out, but it was like I was kind of ostracized a little bit for like some kind of fire. And in the dream, as I was dreaming the dream, it was one of those like I know that my association with this isn't unfair, but I haven't done anything in the dream. And as I was walking away, I noticed there was like in the ashes, there were like diamonds and stuff. It was like money. And it was basically like the fire had created these precious things, and I gave them to the guards or whatever. I was like, oh, here you go, I found these. And in the dream, it was like a realization that, although the fire does come with certain undesirable whatever, what remains or what's left over in the ashes is precious and valuable. And so sometimes if you gotta get a little spicy, you gotta get a little spicy. Sometimes you gotta apply a little heat before you cool things down, icy hot. Or is it cold first and then is it heat? I don't know. You get what I'm saying? But cold and hot air produces the storm. Sometimes some storms are necessary, I guess. And there have been a few times when I feel like the approach is different, though. It's not always the same. I don't know. Anyway, I had that dream a while ago. I was just like, okay. I should have been like, y'all food is trash anyway. I'm like, what was that? It was weird. It was like alien food or something. I mean, I say that, but there's a lot of places on this planet that I haven't been to. You know what I mean? So it could have been someone's delicacy. Let me not yuck somebody yum, but it was not appetizing to me at all. My Saturn is in Aquarius, if I'm looking at Aquarius. The Six of Pentacles is also Moon in Taurus, and my moon is in Taurus. I'm pretty sure it's Moon in Taurus. Wow. There's a reason why. I was like, I love this. The truth that needs to be faced. Sometimes you just got to do the thing. Sometimes you just got to say the thing. And if it kick up a little dust, hey, what yourself? What are you not seeing? What truth needs to be faced? And what can this help you understand about yourself? What was number two? What are you dealing with intentionally not? It's like trying to find. I don't know. We're reaching a point though. We're getting there. What this can help me understand about myself, it's the Queen of Wands. Queen of Wands, magnetism, power, magic. Oh, look what's on the wand. Interesting. Queen of Wands is also cardinal air, which is Aries. But notice how not only is lightning sort of crackling off of her wand, but there is a little funnel cloud looking thing in the back, and the red is giving oof. I know it's different, but it's almost like this Ace of Pentacles is her earring, right? Hmm. Take it as it resonates when it resonates. If it don't resonate, don't take it, Patrick, because this is for you. Oh, I literally did just mention the fire, right? The dream that I had, where it's like in the dream. In the dream, though, it's not like I set fires. In the dream, it was an energy of like they just kind of happen around me in the dream. It's like I'm not a pyromaniac. Like I'm not going around setting stuff on fire, but sometimes things just catch on fire. And then you find diamonds and precious ores and minerals in the ashes. But there's something about magnetism and power here. And apparently that's what this can help me understand about myself. And it's interesting because I feel like it is almost related to something that, call it a knowing. We'll call it a knowing. Why not? Yeah, we'll call it a knowing. This is gonna happen, and then it happens. I knew it was gonna happen. It's like, yeah, you knew it was gonna happen because you're. I'm like, it's something that I feel like it's this arena of gift and ability that I can tap into in certain circumstances very easily. Sometimes easier than I can breathe. In other times, it's like, how do I get there? Impossible. But it's probably because, again, like in those times and in those moments, it's one of those, if a storm is what has to happen, then a storm is what's going to happen. Where otherwise, I'm like, ooh, is there no other way? Is there no other way to cross the street? Like, is traffic gonna stop? You know what I mean? Is the bus running? Like, it's like, no, girl. Sometimes you just gotta put one foot in front of the other and make your own way across the street. Ain't gotta walk fast. Faces may pass. Anyway, interesting. Okay, love how this is kind of sort of playing out. Is this our first introduction to fire? I think so. We got earth, air, water, water, earth, air, and now fire. And last but not least, number 8. What would it take for you to move forward? If the strength card comes out, be like, whoa. What would it take for me to move forward? The Empress. Hmm. Okay. That was a bit unexpected. It's not. I wonder if I have to change my relationship in whatever this dynamic is. Maybe. Interesting. We got the King of Cups, the Queen of Wands. Now, she is a major. What does that mean? We're going to clarify this one too, right there. The Two of Cups and the Three of Cups. No, what is this? The Two of Cups, the Three of Cups, and the Lovers. With the moon. Hold up. And even in the moon, like we see both faces. It's not just the one. Wow, what the freak is going on? The Two of Cups is the clarifier for the Empress. So, I mean, it gives Emperor energy. The Emperor would stand on the other side of that Two of Cups. And we got Mars, Venus, Mars, Mars, Venus, Venus. They're all represented here. This is a double yes. And I guess it's interesting. The other two, the card that came out was a no. It was a no clarified by a yes, right? The Five of Swords, no. Temperance, yes. You see the N and the Y in the top left corner. The King of Cups, no. The Six of Pentacles, yes. But with the Empress and the Two of Cups, there's two yeses. Yes, yes. What is this? I do have the book that I can refer to. Where are the majors? I kind of want to see what you say of the Empress. What do you make of her? How to give awesome readings. Cool. The major arcana, the Hierophant, the Emperor, the Empress, Priestess. This card brings the existential down to Mother Earth, the divine feminine creator of all life. She masters creation on all levels, from procreation to the comforts of a happy home. While the High Priestess creates spiritual power, our Empress is in charge of the material portion of our choices. You will most often see the Empress pictured sitting in nature, since that is her domain. Whether she appears in love or business, she is the ultimate feminine authority, since she feeds all outside information through the filters of caring, nurturing, supporting others, and brings in the best for all, not only the one. She asks you to have good questions in the moment, framed well. What's your fascination, and will you follow it? Are you nurtured enough to nurture others? She reminds you that creativity will lift sadness and worry. Aww. I was thinking, like, I want to create. You know what I mean? I want to create, but I want to create in like an inventive way. You know what I mean? I don't know. You know, you see stuff about the future and how awesome it is, and then you look at reality, right? I don't know, like what happened to like the technologically advanced green giant, not the technologically advanced planet killer. It's fine. But again, it's like I feel like we don't have to sacrifice the environment for the sake of progress. Like there has to be a way. You know what I mean? There has to be an ethics or a framework that could be put in place. But I guess that, you know, relies on people actually caring about people and not just making a buck. I feel like what the Empress and the Two of Cups is kind of whispering to me is that there's a purpose behind it, a purpose behind power, right? I mean, ending with the Five of Swords and the Queen of Wands. Let's look at what's flanking the Nine of Swords now, shall we? We have the King of Pentacles and the Eight of Wands. See, he got money and he's nice. Yes, no, this time. One yes and two no's. Eight of Wands with the King of Pentacles. Interesting that we get the feminine queens or feminine kings, earth and water, and then the queen that came out was the masculine one. One of the masculine ones. Fire and air being masculine elements, water and earth being feminine receptive elements. See, I wonder if this almost speaks to that, because here's the Nine of Swords in the middle, right? I wonder if the Eight of Wands and the King of Pentacles speaks to that feeling. that feeling that was like there's something in the immediate vicinity. Like I can't remember where I put it, but I know it's there type energy. And he is holding the Ace of Pentacles, which came out as the thing that I don't see, the thing that I can't see. So as soon as as soon as you see it and pick it up, it'll all bloop, 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 into place. I mean, that's the vibe anyway. That was the vibe. Cool. I wonder sometimes if I'm almost too long sighted, far sighted, to the point where I may not see directly in front of me the thing, right? It's a question. Who's at the bottom of the deck is another question. The Page of Pentacles with this little deer. Okay. Oh, there's a butterfly. There's a butterfly on her hand. Because there's a butterfly on her hand, it's reading like the Queen of Swords, like reincarnated. As I was talking about the ridiculous reincarnation anime, right? It's almost like the Queen of Swords reincarnated as the Page of Pentacles. Like that butterfly feels like a remnant or a callback to her life as the Queen of Swords. If I were to look, you know what? Why not? I'm gonna look before and after the Six of Cups for the weight and the Emperor as the other side of this Empress plus the Two of Cups equation. I'll have to read these. Under the Page of Pentacles is the Queen of Pentacles, and the King of Pentacles is on the table. Page of Wands. What's the pages and the queens? The bottom three. Four of Cups and the Two of Wands around the Six of Cups. Guess what card is next to the Emperor? There are two cards that are next to the Emperor. Guess one of them. I'll give you a hint. Thematically, we've seen it already. Yes, yes, yes. Wow. Yes, yes, yes. Whoa. Both the Six of Cups and the Emperor came out in a string of yes, yes, yeses. Isn't that wild? Maybe it isn't because the Empress was a double yes. It's the only double yes that we have on the table. So we have the Four of Cups and the Two of Wands on the Six of Cups. Now let's look at this Four of Cups. Yeah, the Ace of Cups is separate from the three. Right, there's the Ace up there. And she's looking real pouty, kind of gloomy. And then those are the three. Pristine, sparkling. I wonder if like the water rushes in and like knocks those cups over. Maybe like there were these three cups and she was like, man, I've only got these three cups. Right? But then the water rushes in because, there was the whole like the river vibe, right? Excuse me, the water rushes in and knocks over those three cups. And she's like, oh man, if only I would have appreciated the three cups before the water rushed in and knocked them over. Now I've got nothing, nothing. But there's like two whole cups here. You know what I mean? Oops. Sometimes the things that don't work out are, they pave the way for things that do. And again, kind of sort of with that Six of Pentacles energy of like navigating that knowledge and that knowing, right? In a way. Beneficial guidance from others and building a rewarding relationship with the Two of Wands. Maybe it's like the cups were knocked over and then there was like a journey. Isn't that kind of the hero's journey? That it's a branch. It's a flavor of the hero's journey, where it's like you realize that the thing you needed was inside you all along, or the real treasure was the friendship or the friends you made along the way, or something like that. It's like, you go all the way to your local coffee shop just to take a sip of an overpriced coffee, and then you realize that you could have made better at home with the materials you already have. You know what I mean? Like, man, I really didn't even have to spend this money. Now that I feel I've given you ample time to think, before and after the Emperor, we got the Tower. The Tower. Emphasis on the lightning from the storms, like with the Five of Swords. Lightning. Storms and lightning, very, very frightening. Ah! I don't know. The Tower and the Hierophant. The Nine of Swords. It had the vibe of that archway, right? That we did the whole spread around. The Hermit, or sorry, the Hierophant stands under that tower, both keys in hand, holding his staff of power. And it's almost like it has like a compass on it. Hmm. I mean, to be fair, the Tower and the Chariot are my birth cards, I guess. They are my birth cards, I guess. They are my birth cards, I guess. I guess. The Tower and the Hierophant. This almost gives the image of, was it the back of the King of Swords and the vice versa tarot? Where he was like calling down a storm? Because the Hierophant stands in that portal gateway archway, and then there's the lightning that's striking over there. Also, the Hierophant is Taurus, right? Moon in Taurus, Six of Pentacles came out clarifying that King of Cups. And the King of Cups was, how am I protecting myself? How I've been trying to protect myself. Emphasis on try. Cool. I mean, I loved it. The personal interview spread a la courtesy of Rob from Rob's Tarot. Courtesy of Sir Professor Nerdplow Odinson of the North. What's her name? What's her name? It's not Aura. That one. That I Don't Need a Cure for Me song just popped into my head. I don't need a cure. Is that it? I don't need it. I don't need a cure for me. Do 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 do. I don't need it. I don't need a cure for me. Aurora. I was almost there. Aurora. I'm like almost there today. Like with my mom's friend. I was like, was it Nicole? She was like, Nikki? I don't need I don't need it. Okay. Cool. Cure for me. Cool. All right. That was this trilogy of self reads. I imagine this just turns into a self read channel. And it's fine. I will say though, maybe this bears consideration. I'm trying to think of the word. Because my Mars is in Cancer. And so the sun is going to be on my Mars, which may be a good time to start doing stuff, right? I think the King of Cups being how I try to protect myself. There's also, especially with the cards that came out later, um, it could be like a shadow of the King of Cups when consideration is a weapon that I turn on myself, right? Like overly sympathizing, blah, 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 blah. not necessarily full on like being a people pleaser, but maybe not necessarily wanting to be a people displeaser. You know what I mean? It's like I ain't trying to please nobody, but I don't necessarily want to displease anyone either. So maybe I won't. Interesting. You know what? I'm gonna take a picture of this because I was literally just thinking, wow, I wish I would have taken a picture of that one spread I did. I would love to take another look at that layout of cards. You know what I mean? Shout out to the zoom out function. That point 0.5 telephoto lens. Ugh. Is the point 0.5 the telephoto lens? I don't know. Okay. I guess we'll get a final card for me and I'll be on my way. Ultimately, it feels like, although I can most easily identify this in which I guess is interesting in and of itself. I feel like one of the reasons, I guess, is that late 2024, like December ish 2024. I kind of felt like sometimes I have like a vibe or a feeling about something, and I always try to leave room for life to be the last and final clarifier or the ultimate clarifier. Um, but I remember like when I was thinking about whatever would come next for me professionally, it felt a lot more proactive, outspoken, like front and center than anything I had done before, where I usually just kind of sort of like sit back, I observe, I do my job, and if there's something that I feel needs to be said, I'll say it. Right. But not necessarily like stepping up, not necessarily volunteering to do this or that. Not that I've necessarily have had opportunities to, but in general, you know. I mean, I guess I won't sell myself short like that. Sometimes yes, but I feel like in the times that I have done it, it wasn't um circumstances didn't align, right? Either like things got busier or my responsibilities expanded or something like that. So, you know, anyway, like a great pitch hitter, great in emergencies and for like getting something to a goal point, post, finish line, but not necessarily like, but also like I haven't necessarily had the gift of the time to be more proactive necessarily either. And when I was more proactive, it was like, oh my gosh, the clouds had parted and then the rains fell down. I was like, I see this path lay before me. I have spoken and someone has listened and they're going to work with me. And then everything fell apart. But anyway, I think as I interpreted it when I was feeling it, that's when I was like, I want to be really proactive. And it's like, I don't want to passively attract and manifest something. I want to actively choose, which is not my modality at all, necessarily. And again, the Queen of Wands is very magnetic. She attracts. The Empress also attracts, right? They sit in alignment and the things come to them, which also, wow, I feel like that's another layer in and of itself, especially in my like, I want to have to like, you know, I don't want to rely on the divine necessarily, unnecessarily, right? If it's something that it feels like I can do, like, I don't want to bother. Imagine, literally God, literally the divine, literally source, literally the creator. I don't want to bother them with my petty human problems. I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. It's fine. It's fine. Only me. Hey, maybe there's somebody else out there. Um, and I feel like it is like ask. Be open to receive. You don't like literally with the Ace of Pentacles. Just like be open to receive. You don't have to do all of this. The answer, it's already there. Like literally right behind you. Turn around. Well, look at what you see. Right? You'll find it's right there. Even the Five of Swords, it's like if you literally turn around or look down, you'll see that path, the connection, not just like holding out this whatever. You know what I mean? Anyway, um, I don't like. I also felt that as an aspect, but I guess I thought that I would have had to embody that energy or be a lot more proactive to get there. And I don't think that that's necessarily the case. What I will say is, I used to like earnestly and honestly feel that I had never really had an opportunity to explore my capabilities in a way that felt like boundary pushing and expansive. Um, Partially where I was in life when I was there, right? I've been seeing a lot on Instagram lately. Just because you could be doing more doesn't mean that you're not doing enough, right? And I was doing what I could at the time. But also, I was kind of sort of wanting experiences that would push me and would stretch me. And that was like 2021, right? I was presented with two options and I chose the one that would push me and stretch me more. I said that. I communicated it. I made the choice. And if I had known the ways in which I'd be pushed, I feel like if I had known the ways that I would be pushed and stretched, I would have had to make the same choice because I know what came next for me in life. And if I hadn't pushed and stretched myself, there could have been another opportunity to prepare me, but I was prepared pretty thoroughly. And yeah, that's something that I used to want. Something that would like really challenge me and something that would really push me, something that like I could really sink my teeth into, something that I can like just let my like unscrew the Frankenstein bolts and just let the brain just like create and imagine and expand and like run wild. You know what I mean? And maybe it's time I found it. Maybe it's time I allow myself to see where it already be. Right? Cool. I feel like that's something I kind of forgot about. I mean, honestly, I've kind of been like in the throes of life, not necessarily in the way that I was wanting or expecting in a different capacity. I feel like I was being stretched in a different capacity than like mentally in a stimulating way, right? There's the mental stretch that can wear on your mental health, but that's not necessarily like, I don't know. There's something in the exploration and the science of it all that sort of used to really call to me. That still does in a lot of ways, in a way that makes like life better, you know, or easier. Just not even necessarily better. Just, I mean, in making life easier, yeah, in a way that makes life better, in a way that makes life more tolerable, right? Mentally, emotionally, physically, right? If there's some kind of ailment that, you know, some kind of malady or a malediction, question mark, just like making life better, easing the pain, introducing a little comfort, right? I feel like somewhere in the exploration of the putting my hands in whatever and just being open in the past few years, I've had a few moments where I realized I kind of forgot the things that I used to want to do, right? There she is at the cut. Queen of Wands, Page of Pentacles. I'm looking at this Page of Pentacles like, oh, it's in her hair. So there's the butterfly from the Queen of Swords. In her hair, we see that flower crown like we see in the Queen of Wands. It's almost like I'm looking, I don't know what of the Queen of Cups is in this Page of Pentacles, but it's almost like the Page of Pentacles is the penultimate reincarnation, right? There are the lives as the Queen of Wands, Queen of Cups, and the Queen of Swords with the gift, skills, abilities, whatever insight that she's bringing with her in this life. Because the Queen of Pentacles is the pre Empress. Or, yeah, Queen of Pentacles is pre Empress. And that's what she'll become. The Empress was how you get out of it, right? The way to progress was the Empress. And it's something for now the Four of Pentacles is there with the Page of Pentacles. And she's almost there. Or she's on that path to Empresshood. Something that, I mean, but that's progress, right? Oh, the High Priestess with the Four of Pentacles. The way she's holding this, though, it reminds me of that Two of Swords, and it's just like she's taking the blindfold off. Maybe it was one of those. Who are you hiding from? You think you going undercover, girl? Everybody know it's you. We all know it's you. Can't nobody else who work here afford Balenciaga and Birkin and Dolce and Gabbana. You're the only one that wear them labels around here. So nice try. Anyway, I don't know. Anyway, it's fine. Final card from the Clarity Tarot, please. Concluding this personal interview. Again, spread courtesy of Rab from Rab's Tarot. All right, clean flip or clean fall. Oh, look how it flipped. It literally flipped in my hand. Slip cups. It's the card that clarified the Empress. The bottom of the deck is death. This is another double yes. Maybe death is here because it's like, yeah, it's that reincarnation storyline. You know what I mean? Death isn't really giving me any. Oh. I was gonna say death isn't really giving me anything. It's the image. Let's see. Now the Page of Wands is with the Queen of Wands. Just like we had the Page of Coins with the Queen of Coins. Page of Wands is with the Queen of Wands. And under the Queen of Wands. And then the King of Pentacles is, which was the card on the other side of that Nine of Swords. Because like you could say the Queen of Wands is an interesting character. She's related to the sun. She's related to the magician. She is the most magical magician-like queen. And the magician holds the sword and the wand. The cup and the pentacle are floating up in the air. He holds the sword and the wand. We didn't see the Queen of Swords or the Page of Swords. We saw the Two of Swords. Is that it? No 3, no 4, no 5. The two and the five. We saw the two of swords and the five of swords. There was something about temperance. What did temperance come out to clarify? Did it clarify? I didn't clarify the Queen of Wands, so it had to clarify that Five of Swords. The Temperance clarified the Five of Swords, and there's something in Temperance about balance. Sometimes balance can only be learned through practice. Cool. The Two of Cups is such an interesting. Maybe the Two of Cups has some kind of flavor of self love, but in a way of like censoring and restricting. Like, I wouldn't necessarily do that to anybody else. So why do I kind of do it to me? Or it's almost like in my journey of self love, when is the point where I allow myself to be and where I put myself in situations where I can really explore the depths of my potential in a way that goes beyond just like thinking about it or dreaming about it or imagining it. You know what I mean? With the Page of Pentacles, like being it IRL in real life more fully. We didn't see the High Priestess, but we did see the Two of Swords. And the Two of Swords was the second card of what I'm dealing with. It's already 10:16. Whoa. Duolingo's like, do your lesson today or you'll lose your streak. I already did 1, 2, 3, 4 days. I don't think I've hit 1240 yet. It's been a while. It's been a while. Anyway, I feel like there's almost this like, because I've been so hesitant or because I've stuck to the roles that I've stuck to in my mind, and I've challenged myself before. Maybe it's time for me to challenge myself again. I was talking to I think I was talking to my buddy. I could have been talking to my number one fan. Or I could have been talking to my journey buddy. I was talking to one of them, and I sort of expressed my reluctance at something. And they were like, haven't you already done that? And I was like, yeah, but like the first time I did it, it was like different. It literally wasn't, but in my mind it was, I guess. I don't know. Because it was one of those like, can I be me in this role? And it was related to like a leadership position, right? And I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to like manage or supervise or lead people. And then they were like, well, didn't you already have a job where you did that? And I was like, yeah, but it was different. And like maybe it was different because I'm different. The reason why, like, I had a leadership position as an RA, and with that taste of leadership, I was like, I wonder, because before I became an RA, I was like, I'm not super, like, I am fairly straight laced, but I'm not super like authoritative. Like, I'm fairly chill. I feel like my approach when it came to writing somebody up or something was like, we both know the rules. You're breaking the rules. At this point, it's a formality. I'm not gonna sit here and blah 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 whatever. Right? You know you're not supposed to be drinking in the hall, or you know that quiet hours is at this time. Right? We don't have to turn this into a thing. I'm gonna document it, write my report. I'm gonna go about my day. Here's what next steps are gonna look like for you. If you don't have any questions, I'd like to. get back to, finishing this so I can go back to my room. And I think there, of course, there were some people that were super like, right. I don't know. The power, the authority didn't do that to me, but also like it didn't need to. But after that, I was like, well, I wonder if I could be like a leader, if I can fill a leader role in a professional sense, right? Because when I was like, I'm not super authoritative. I'm not going to be whatever. I wonder if I could even do it, right? Like, I wonder if I'm suited for that kind of work. And it worked out for me. And a lot of people, I don't know. It's like, again, my approach is like, we're all adults here. And this is just like the process. There's no, like, we don't have to put extra emotions on top of this. You know what I mean? Yes, there's the whole like, oh, like, we don't want to throw the alcohol away or we don't want to get written up, whatever. But besides that, I don't have to sort of show up in this dynamic of authority person and person who broke the rules. Which it's not ironic because again, I am fairly straight laced, I would say. I'd say I'm a goody goody at least shoe and a half. If the shoe don't fit, I'm not putting it on and I'm not gonna wear it. But if they fit, then I'm like, yeah, you know what I mean? It's a good shoe. Why would I wear it? And yeah, kind of sort of for similar reasons, I took a leadership position over the summer working conferences. And again, I found out that my leadership style is valid, I guess. Like it works. I don't have to morph into what I think someone in this position like has to, because it's not me. Right. I remember one time I had to confront um I had a team of 8 people. I had to confront two of them. Technically I had to confront three, but at the time I was thinking I only needed to confront two because when I was told, I was like, told I had to confront two. Again, I didn't remember at the time that there was a third person also involved. I'm just like, I don't want to have to be in this situation, but I'm the boss. So here I go. And I didn't know how to do it. It was like after a staff meeting, and I was just like, hey, like, can you two like stay back after the meeting? There's just like something I want to talk to y'all about. And there was like something that they didn't put on the boards or something like that. I don't know. Because I worked in the dorms over the summer, and different people who use Purdue facilities, like they rent out the dorms and they stay there over the summer conferences, right? I was one of the faces of the university as people do their summer conference at Purdue, and they get the full dorm experience and they eat in the dining halls and other stuff, right? And we have informational boards about campus, right? The map and different stuff. And my boss had told me that there was something up with the boards, and she was like, "You need to talk to them and find out, figure out what's going on." So that's what I did. And there were 2 people. One of them was like, "I don't appreciate how you did that. I've been called out in the past for something that I wasn't even responsible for." And she was triggered. I was like, you know what? Again, this is me. I'm not going to be like, I'm your boss and this is not an acceptable way to talk to me and blah blah blah. I'm not that person. I was just like, oh, like I hear what you're saying. I'm sorry. This is my this is my first time, girl. And then they were like, yeah, and also this third person was here with us too. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. I mean, ultimately, it worked itself out. It wasn't a huge deal. Um, but I feel like I could have reacted to that in a way that I didn't, because it would like that's not me. If I'm in the wrong or if I've made a mistake, I'll own up to it. Especially like I feel like it wouldn't have been fair for me because when I asked them to stay back, I did that in front of everybody. And when she responded to me, she did it between just us three, me, her, and the other person that stayed back. And so in that situation, of course, right, I'm not going to be like, blah, 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 blah. And of course, like she understood, again, the situation worked itself out. But that was one of those moments where it's like, I can do this in a way that works for me. And again, I kind of sort of feel like not that I have to be somebody, because I'm not gonna be anybody that I'm not, but it's like a, does my personality and style work for this kind of position? And it did. I feel like in both cases, I was respected for being true to me and for handling the situations the way that I handled it. I was kind of told that I was the dorm's favorite RA. Apparently, I was a cool one, but also at the time, I was significantly older than a lot of people. And I think that was the thing, too. I was like, I'm a super duper senior. The hall is primarily freshmen. I don't have to, whatever. Right? I was like, some of these kids are like 7 years younger than me. I was like, whoa. Okay, 6 or 7, 5, 6, 7. Um, but yeah, what somebody was like, yeah. And there was apparently a hall wide group chat where everybody just spilled all the tea. And I guess I was cool enough that one of my residents told me about it, but I wasn't so cool that I didn't. Well, I didn't know. So I was like, have y'all heard about this like group chat with the whole building to the other RAs? They were like, no, but I was curious how some of my residents knew about stuff that I didn't even know about. I don't know. So maybe in the group chat, they're like, oh, this RA showed up and this is how they handled it. And he was like, yeah, you're like a lot of people's favorite. But again, I feel like that's just because I don't know, I worked in a party dorm. And so there were all, there was always something. But again, my thing is like, it's the college experience. You know what I mean? You just so happen to get caught, and I just so happen to be the person that has to write the report. That's it. But anyway, I don't know. And I feel like there have been other, again, within the past year, it's been a lot of like, oh, like I am qualified for this, right? Like it's not like whatever. Um, but at the same time, again, like I feel like I've gotten really comfortable with certain aspects and dynamics of my personality and not necessarily with others. And it's an opportunity to sort of like marry the two. There you go. That's this Two of Cups. And that's this transformation from the Page of Wands to the Queen of Wands to the Magician. Potentially. And I don't have to change to be anything but who I am to be. I haven't watched a musical, but I did watch two people react to Dear Evan Hansen. I've never seen it. The movie, not the stage play, not the musical. And apparently, I'm in a singy mood. That was like yesterday. I mean, I am just kind of sort of singy in general. Anyway, cool. Thanks for stopping by and spending some time with me. I feel like if there were an oracle card I could pull as a cherry on the top, icing on top, the cherry on top, icing on the cake as a cherry on top could be something like fire or storm, related. But I also don't think it's necessary. So I got the two extra cards, the Eight of Wands and the King of Pentacles. As soon as you pick it up, as soon as you see that those two cups and that Ace of Pentacles and you pick them up, oh my gosh, how did I not piece that together in the Five of Cups? It was the two cups that were left standing. I'm just like, I don't know why this Two of Cups is here. Why is this Two of Cups showing up? What is this about? The Five of Cups, crying over the three that spilled, but there's two that's still there. The dove that was on the girl's lap to be like, hey, you still got two cups, girl. Also, we did just see the shiny, shiny cup and that one angel from the uh, Notoria Tarot. When I did that, my by nature of who I am, by virtue of who I am, my light, my shadow, the archetype that I hold no insignificant presence in, or that's not insignificantly related to me, we saw there was a cup raised in those, I think in the final cards. Anyway. Anyway, I hope you all have an amazing whatever whenever you see this. I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. I hope that whatever you need along your path, journey what you find. If there was anything of resonance in here for you, or if you're just curious about, I guess, where I am. I feel like I kind of go through waves of like more sort of like self reads or like this is where I am or this is what I'm noticing, and other times when sometimes where it's just it seems like all fire and rage and shaky fists, and other times where I'm like, ooh, what's this? Let's explore. I don't know. Anyway, we'll see. We'll see what happens. It does feel like again like there's a culmination point that's being reached in a lot of ways, and it's like I'm starting to see it's like there are pieces of things that I'm starting to see come together, and then there are completely other things that are like out of left field, like no puzzle pieces on the board, and then it's just like a whoa. It's like sometimes when you are going through the puzzle pieces and you find a few pieces already together, it's kind of like whoa, and you're like yes, right? I've solved a few puzzles in my day, and every time pieces come out together, I'm of the opinion keep them together. We're doing a 500,000 piece puzzle. If we find two or three pieces together, we can keep them together. We don't have to break them apart and add them to the shuffle. We got 490 or 990 plus other pieces. We can take two or three. We can give ourselves that courtesy. You know what I mean? So yeah, I don't know. I'm like really curious. And yeah, I honestly, glowing reviews, I can't recommend it enough. The personal interview spread, I kind of, I was going to say, like, I kind of want to do it again, but I kind of feel like it is good where it is. Like, I know what I can address and focus on and what I can incorporate in my life as I'm moving forward. And yeah, I think too, I don't know if I finished the thought. Um, that's why I started talking about this. Okay, that's why I started talking about the leadership positions that I've had in the past. I feel like because there are certain things that I haven't necessarily personally experienced or dipped a toe into, I have this idea that it might look a certain way or that it might go a certain way. But there was a vibe as I was reading the cards, maybe it was around when the Empress came out, where it was like it can work out completely differently than I think or would expect. And it was very like in my hesitation or reservation to do certain things, it's like I may think that it'll cause a certain reaction or it'll go down a certain way, but it doesn't have to go down that way. And also, it's very like there are ways to go about whatever that doesn't sacrifice integrity or authenticity. But I wouldn't necessarily know that because I haven't necessarily put myself in those positions. So all I have is what I see, what I gather, and then what my intuition and discernment is like, hey, you should go and do that. And I'm like, it doesn't look like something that I want to do. And they're like, yeah, but just try it. And it's like, how about I go pursue this for a little bit? How about we look over here? It's like, okay, well, whenever you're ready, the Ace of Pentacles is right there. And there's a path that you can take if you choose to. Mr. Autonomy, being human. I got choices, free will. You can't force me to do nothing. I was like, okay, yeah, I'll do it. I mean, that's kind of sort of the story of my life a little bit, but that's the joy of living life and getting to have your own experiences sometimes, even if it is kind of like a wow. Really wish that I would have discerned better and that I would have really followed whatever. But sometimes you'll have somebody there to help put you on the right path, or to help keep you grounded and centered and focused on your path. And I feel like that's something that I'm really, really, really fortunate to have in a few people in my life. Whenever I start to like waver a little bit and I'm like, ooh, I don't know. I'm kind of feeling, you know. So cool. All right, that's it. I'll catch y'all later. Bye.